Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
We'll begin with a nigun to get us into the mood.
Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai ya la la lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai ya la la lai lai yai lai 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 yai ya la lai lai yai lai 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 la 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 lai lai ya la lai ya la lai ya la la la
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's so nice to be with you all this Shabbat. I'm David Helfand, the rabbinic intern here at Shomrei Torah Synagogue, joined by my partner in crime, Cantor Raffi, who'll be back in just 1 second. It's lovely to be with you all. It's been quite some time since I was able to spend Shabbat with you all, and it's nice to be able to be back. Before we begin our service, I want to just share something I was reading before Shabbat about the blessing that we said over the candles just a little bit ago. In their masterful work, Filling Words with Light, Rabbi Lawrence Kushner and Dr. Nehemiah Poland write the following on the blessing of Lahadlik Ner Shel Shabbat. They say that it's difficult to imagine a more primal ritual than the lighting of a candle. The simple mystery of a tiny flame invisibly joined by a wick, bestowing light and continuously flickering upward. It evokes a sense of numinous in all spiritual traditions. The flame of the candle strikes us at once as a perfect metaphor for the soul, yearning, or in the case of the Shabbat candles, renewing and reconnecting to the source of high. On Shabbat, it's said that each of us, each Jewish person, receives a nefesh yetera, an extra soul. That's why all the calories don't count on Shabbat. And any person who's ever watched the Shabbat candles light, they reflect and they think back to the generations that have been doing this for so long. There's a teaching of Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, the Kedushat Levi, the famous Hasidic master, and in which he reminds us that the Shabbat candles are indeed the very first mitzvah of Shabbat. Even before we recite Kiddush, the holy sanctification prayer on our grape juice or our wine, once we light the candles, which do come first, that officially welcomes in Shabbat. And when we light them, we're bringing light down from above. Furthermore, they say that after sharing a Shabbat meal, the reason that we don't say good evening on Shabbat is because Shabbat is here and there's no more darkness because of the candles. When we bring Shabbat in with candles and when we take Shabbat out with Havdalah with candles, there is no darkness for this period of time. And so therefore, it's neither night nor is it evening, but is in fact simply light. We wish you a Shabbat Shalom, a Shabbat of light, a Shabbat of warmth, a Shabbat of family and community, and good things to come. We're going to put the Zoom ID on the screen in just a moment for you to join us here in the Zoom room. We'll have a special guest speaker a little bit later. Heather Rasnick will be sharing some words with us, as well as the beautiful music of Cantor Raffi, and maybe some short words of Torah as well throughout. So I'll put the Zoom ID on the screen. We're going to begin on page 11 with L'chun Ranana, and you're welcome to join us here in the Zoom room. Cantor Raffi.
let us sing, 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 let us sing. 40 שנה אקוד בדור ואמרם תוי לבבהם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי ואפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי.
Page 13, we'll sing a new song, Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, as Cantor Rafi will lead us on page 13.
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום לשועתו, שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום לשועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני, ומהולל מאוד נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום לשועתו, כי כל אלוהי העמים מלילים, ואדוני שמיים עשה, הוד והדר לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו, שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. לפני אדוני קיבה לשפוט הארץ, לשפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים באמונתו. You're muted, Rabbi Helfand.
I can't believe that happened to me after so many years on Zoom. We'll continue on page 15, and Cantor Rafi will join us in page 16 for Or Zarua.
Bottom 4 lines. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la. Or zarua latzadik ulishrei lev simcha, simchu tzadikim b'Adonai vehudu lezecher kodsho, simchu tzadikim b'Adonai vehudu lezecher kodsho. Or zarua latzadik ulishrei lev simcha.
We'll join together page 17, page 21, and we'll rise together if you're able for Mizmor LeDavid, page 21.
מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, היי היי היי, הבו לאדוני כבוד. היי 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 אדוני, למה בול ישב וישב אדוני, מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. יא לילה לילה, 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 יא לילה liלה.
You may be seated. I'd like to share just a short thought with you all before we transition to Lecha Dodi, which is on page 23. There's a teaching and a story of the Baal Shem Tov about the end line of the second stanza of Lecha Dodi. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila, that what was last in action was the first thing in thought. The Baal Shem Tov helped illustrate this point by teaching a story. He once reached for a pitcher of beer that was on the table beside him, and he held it up before the class that he was teaching, and he reminded them that while the pitcher was only made of earthenware, it had already been shaped by the artisan. And although the clay, the raw material, preceded the pitcher, its present shape was of human intention. And he rotated it before the students, and he explained how they were able to discern some of the vitality, some of the creative life that came from it, from the person who made it. And he said that we can thus gain an insight into the consciousness of the creator itself. We can literally feel the mind of the maker of the object, which goes back to the Kabbalistic idea of Kol HaPo'al Benifal, that the power of the creator is in the creation itself. And then, in fact, in an act of great vision, the Baal Shem Tov focused his attention on the simple pitcher of beer itself, and he said, I can see, for instance, that the artisan who made this had brown hair and a kind smile. But I can also see that this person had no legs. The students were shocked and astonished. How could this possibly be? How could he know about the person simply by looking at the picture? And he says the consciousness is the vitality as it continues to reside within the creation. So a student asked him, what would happen if you were to take out and extract the consciousness of the artist from the vessel? Well, the Baal Shem Tov said, I believe that the vessel would fall apart. The lesson concluded as one student remained alone in the room. And as like a curious student he was, he walked up to the table, he lifted up the pitcher of beer, and it disintegrated from his hands. The pitcher had been made not to hold liquid, but just for the teacher's demonstration, and now its purpose was no longer needed. The artisan's plan fulfilled, its purpose completed. As we transition into Lecha Dodi and we welcome in the Shabbat Bride, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila, that which was last in action was very first in thought. Page 23.
Shakoach, Rabbi Halfan, so beautiful. As you all know, as many of you know, our tradition for Lecha Dodi at our Zoom Kabbalat Shabbat is to make this a very participatory moment. So if you are so inclined, I invite you to unmute yourselves, and when we get to the refrain, the part that repeats, I'll invite everybody to join together. And I love the Zoom choir. I know people say it's a cacophony and you can't sing together. I think it's beautiful, and we all enjoy it when we're here. So I invite you to join in, and if somebody's so bold and wants to lead a verse, I'm looking at you, Rabbi Helfand, just
pressure.
Signal, give me the signal.
No pressure.
This is a Hasidic melody.
השם ותפארת ולי תהי
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabla.
לקראת שבת
לכו
לכו ונלכה,
ונלכה,
כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם, נסוכה סוף מעשה, מחשבה תחילה. Everybody!
Lecha dodi likrat kala.
Beautiful! מקדש מלך, עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי, מתוך ההפכה רב לך שבט, ובקמך, והוא יחמול עלייך המה. Everybody, לך בני שבת נקדש 24. התנערים מעפר קומי לישי בגדי תפארתך מי על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי קורבה אל נפשי גאה לה. Everybody,
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat.
Rabbi Halfan, we take the next verse.
Idnari me'afar kumi lifshi bigdei tifartecha mi'al. Oh, we already did one. Hitoreri kiva orech kumi uri shir dabiri kavod Adonai alayich nigla.
Lecha dodi likrat b'nei Shabbat nekabla. Only better when it's nice. Lo tevoshi velo תקלמי מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי בך יחסו עניי עמי ונבנתה עירתי לה. Everyone, לך דודי בני שבת היו למשיסה שוסייך ורחקו כל בבלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך ימסוס חתן על כלה. Everybody, לך בני שבת ימין ושמאל תפרוצי בית אדוני תריצי על יד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה ונגידה לך Rise and we face the entrance to our prayer spaces as we welcome the Shabbat Bride and we sing. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי
Oh, I love the Zoom choir. So lovely. So lovely to hear your voices and sing together with you as we welcome in Shabbat. Clearly, I'm very rusty and haven't done Zoom for a long time. I can't even pay attention to the verses. We're on page 27, the Psalm for Shabbat, page 27.
We're going to join together in the middle of the page, Magadu.
Magadu, Maasecha Adonai, Maasecha Adonai, Magadalu. Magadu, Maasecha Adonai, Maasecha Adonai, Magadalu. מאוד 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 אותי נבון בשיבת שנים ברננים יחיו להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולת בו.
Page 29.
אדוני מלך ינבש. עדותיך נאמנו מאוד ביתך נא בקודש אדוני לאורך ימים.
The words of the Mourner's Cottage, page 30. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah
Amen.
Divarach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen.
Amen.
Hey shmei rabbah mevarach leolam leomei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei tkucha b'richu
Riku.
E'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen.
Amen.
Hey shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
Ose shalom b'imromav Huyase shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen.
Amen.
You're all welcome to be seated for a moment. Cantor Rafi, can you spotlight me for just a second?
Absolutely.
Cool. The power of Zoom. So I want to just share a very quick thought of Torah before we move into the Mariv service. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little bit exhausted and a little out of it. I've been going nonstop for the past 2.5 months and applying for jobs. I've been interviewing over the past 3 months in different communities around the United States. And Rebecca and I have had the privilege of spending Shabbat in the past couple of weeks in different communities and will for the next few weeks in other communities around the country. But there's been one constant throughout the past several months of this exhaustion and this travel and this interview period that has really rooted me, and that is Shabbat. It's crazy to think that despite all the things that I have to do, that we all have to do on a regular basis, whether we get them done or we don't, there's a moment in our week where we can just stop. And it's hard to let go. It's hard to lean into something which is perhaps foreign or perhaps even more work than it would be otherwise. But for me, Shabbat has been that thing, that constant variable and the craziness that has really given me an opportunity to pause, to stop, in particular, to breathe, and to be thankful. This week, Parshat Ki Tisa, we read the famous stories of the golden calf and the smashing of the tablets. Towards the middle of our portion, we read 2 verses, which Cantor Rafi will sing with us in just a few moments. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. The Israelite people shall keep or guard the Sabbath, observing the Sabbath throughout the generations as a covenant for all time. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, ki sheshit yamim asa et atzmayim ve'et ha'aretz, uvayom ha-shevi'i shavat vayinafash. That it shall be a sign for all people between God and the people of Israel. For in 6 days God made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day God ceased from work and was refreshed. I look at the words of the Vishamru, which we say on Friday evening as we welcome in Shabbat, but we also say it on Shabbat morning as we say Kiddush, as a way of thinking about being mindful, but more important, about caring for ourselves. Vishamru, that we are guarding, that we're protecting, that we're able to recognize the situation and the moments that we're in and guard that time as sacred. That we should la'asot, that we should make Shabbat a time and an opportunity to care about ourselves, to be with others, and to recognize where we are in our own lives. That the Dorotam, these generations, that now then and before and after, Shabbat will always be a moment for us to reflect and be present and model for us for the future about what it is that we are supposed to do. And most importantly, the ceasing from working so that we can be refreshed. This opportunity to step back and enjoy Shabbat Vayinafash, this moment of refreshness. My hope, my prayer, not just for myself in this process or for any rabbinic colleague looking for a job this year, is for each and every one of us to take a moment to step back. Step back and think about what it is that we have. Embrace those opportunities for the self-care that we so all desperately need, and live with Shabbat as a blessing, as a moment for our nefesh, our soul, and that we all be vayinafash, and we will all be refreshed together as we celebrate Shabbat now, next week, and for many Shabbatot to come. We'll continue with the Mariv service on page 39a. If you're able to rise, we'll rise together with Cantor Rafi, and I will throw the Zoom ID back on the screen in just a few moments so that you can join us for the end piece of our service together, page 39a. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Le'olam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vahed.
You're welcome to be seated. We'll continue on page 39a and continue through the paragraphs of the Shema to follow.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים.
Page 40.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך. ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Page 41 for the Shema.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We'll continue silently on page 42.
Adonai Elohechem emet.
Continuing on page 43a, and Cantor Rafi will join us for the Micha Mocha on page 44.
ומנקו זאת וקיים. מלכותו מרצון כמלהם. יאללה אלה יאללה 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 Cottage, Noradi Loto Sepele, Noradi Loto Sepele, Yalaila, 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 ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Page 45.
סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Amen. If you're able to rise, we'll rise together. Page 46 for the Vishamru, this prayer of self-care, transitioning into the Cottage, followed by the silent Amidah for Shabbat, page 47.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. היי ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשו אדוני את רבה.
Amen.
ברמה דברה קילותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב אמרו.
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם מעלמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה
Rifu.
לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה ואמרו.
Amen. A silent Amidah, your own personal devotion. If you so choose to follow the Siddur, page 47 to page 52. Otherwise, the words of your hearts for the silent devotion. If you've yet to finish your Amidah, please continue at your own pace. We'll turn to page 54 for Kaddish Shalem.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
ועלמה דברה קילותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ובמכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba
לברך, לעולם עולם מעלמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה ואמרו.
Amen.
תתקבץ אלו תהון ובתהון דכל ישראל, קודם ההון דבשמיא ואמרו.
Amen.
יהי שלום רב מן שמיא וחיים עלינו וכל ישראל ואמרו.
Amen.
יעשה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו.
Amen. I'll invite those who are able to rise. We'll rise together. Page 56 for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
You're welcome to be seated. This week, the 18th of Adar Rishon to the 24th of Adar Rishon, corresponding to the 19th to the 25th of February, our community remembers the following Yortzeit of Randy Alfaso, Herbert Ashkovich, Selma Berman, Dorothy Bienstock, Harry Borove, Jacob Botsnick, Melissa Breitenstein, Pauline Brody, Jeffrey Brown, Elaine Cohen, Florence Cohen, Leah Cohen, Jack Cooper, Harry Cooten, George Cowan, Evelyn Edelstein, Moishe Fine, Bernard Felsat, George Freeman, Ella Friedrich, Harun Gozadeh, Maurice Goldberg, Fred Griffler, Ernie Held, Al Hellman, Samuel Hurwitz, Alfred Hyman, Jesse Kapoor, Bertie Krovitz, Phyllis Latch, Ann Littman, Rudolph Lorsch, Dora Lubin, Sandra Marks, Marilyn Nachmanson, Ben Raber, Yehuda Raffi, Al Rosenblatt, Ruth Rubin, Bernard Schuster, Irvin Silverman, Janine and Mitchell Sternbach, Louis Sundell, Jeanette Erkowitz, Lillian Waxman, Susan Wenger, Sylvia Wyatt, Philip Yellen, and Max Yaffe. Are there any other names this evening? Okay. Mourners and those observing a yard site, the words of the Mourner's Cottage can be found on page 58. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yomad yuvrach yirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach leolam leomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yithalal. Shemei dikudsha berichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'oma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who creates peace on high bring peace to all of us in Israel and all those who dwell on this earth. And may the memories of our loved ones be for a blessing eternally. And together we all say, amen.
Amen.
You may be seated. Again, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This Shabbat, we are partnering with Sharsheret, the national Jewish nonprofit organization that provides free and confidential and personalized support and resources for those people facing breast cancer or ovarian cancer, as well as those with elevated genetic risk. And we're going to welcome one of our very own members of our community, Heather Rasnick, who will share some words. Before that, Cantor Raffi.
Yes. So we're delighted to welcome Heather, who's going to speak with us. Her family have been connected to Shomrei for a very long time. She is a very beautifully artistic person, and just want to share that a deeply spiritual, beautifully artistic person. And hopefully, at some point, we are going to open up an art center. And Heather, hopefully, you'll be one of its teachers. But today, she's here to share some very important words and experiences. So we're delighted to welcome you.
And so, Heather, we're going to spotlight you so everybody can see you. There we go. And so you just unmute yourself and it's all yours.
Thank you. Nice tie, David. Caught that pink tie, so thank you. Before I start, I just want to say a virtual hug to my friend Leanne. Your grace and amazing will really supports me. I'm just amazed by you constantly in this crazy chapter of your life. Well, good evening, everyone. Tonight is a special Pink Shabbat. I was asked by my friend Miriam to share a bit of my story along with my experience with the Shoshared organization and to you, the Shomrei community. I've been a member of Shomrei Torah for 10 years. My highlights here include our two sons were bar mitzvahed under Rabbis Sherman and Camrus. I've participated in many classes, helped paint murals on the yard walls, lent my hands for community outreaches, studied mitzvot, and co-chaired a Israel Advocacy Committee with my friend Charlie Levy. Unfortunately, I am a two-time breast cancer survivor, or the new phrase is a breast cancer thriver. As you can imagine, it's special for me to be here tonight to share my story with you. So what is Pink Shabbat? Pink Shabbats are a national movement to raise awareness of the increased risk of breast and other cancers in the Jewish community. It is important to let people know that Shoshared exists to support, educate, and help the community to support each other. Near my 52nd birthday, I was B'nai Mitzvah at Shomrei Torah. 40 years after a girl usually gets bat mitzvah, but oh well, we love the number 40 in our Jewish tradition, so it was fitting. The number 40 has another meaning, as we just read in this week's Torah portion. After the Jews heard the 10 commandments at Mount Sinai, Moses went up the mountain to receive the 2 tablets from God. The Jews know he is supposed to come down after 40 days, but they miscalculate. And when he doesn't come down as expected, they are confused as to what has happened. The Jews built a golden calf and made it into an idol, serving, worshiping, and gathering it sacrifices. 40 days of waiting is as difficult as I well know. Do you remember early COVID when we were in constant lockdown and had to wait in those crazy long lines at the market? That's when I was diagnosed with my second bout of breast cancer. During the initial COVID lockdown, when people were afraid, isolated, and being suspicious of friends and neighbors, that's when I most needed help. It's scary when you hear of cancer in the world, but even more intense when your own doctor tells you your mammogram or biopsy came back with positive with a malignancy. I wouldn't sit still and reached out for some immediate resources. Google is my go-to library. Reaching into the clouds, I stumbled upon the Shoshared organization. Shoshared is the Hebrew word for chain. This Jewish nonprofit organization provides women and families with free, confidential, and relevant support from before diagnosis through treatment and beyond. At Shoshared, they know that cancer diagnosis affects the entire family. Whether the diagnosis is early or later stage, they offer services, support, and resources for those affected by cancer, but also for their parents, children, partners, and friends. During COVID, Shoshared continued to grow its life-enhancing programs and resources for thousands of people facing breast and ovarian cancer. While Shoshared is a Jewish organization guided by Jewish values, they provide support to anyone regardless of background, race, gender, age, or religion. They have offices on both coasts, including Los Angeles. When I called Shoshared, I was assisted by a kindly social worker. From that moment, I've enjoyed and participated in a multitude of programming offered free of charge to survivors, family members, and their advocates. I joined community webinars where we baked, we made challah, we cooked authentic dishes on Zoom, participated in book clubs, listened to survivor stories, and learned from educators and medical experts about a variety of pertinent subjects. 2 weeks ago, 150 cancer thrivers from across the US, we watched and painted along with a teacher and created some awesome images on canvas. We held our pieces up on our Zoom cameras and shared our canvases, each one unique, from the simple to the most detailed. The paint, the canvas, the brushes were shipped to us free of charge, donated by someone who anonymously. We are Jews, friends, and family here on Zoom. Certainly, some of us can say we are connected in some fashion through descendants in Eastern Europe or South America and everywhere in between. We innately share our genetic makeup. A while ago, I was intrigued by an over-the-counter genetic test. It's important to note that this is not the same medical grade genetic testing. If you have questions about those tests, Sherritt has a genetic counselor on staff to help for free to offer personal consultation over the phone. I thought it would be interesting to do a genetic test of my own to hopefully reveal a little bit about my personal history since my grandparents and parents are gone, and I wanted to know some dark family secrets. My results, 100% Ashkenazi. Well, you might not realize this, but 1 in 40 Ashkenazi Jews carry a BRCA mutation compared with 1 in 400 in the general population. Men and women can both be carriers of the BRCA gene mutations, each with having a 50% chance of passing it on to the next generation. This isn't just a women's issue, because if you have a mutation, you're at risk for breast, male breast, ovarian, prostate, pancreatic, and melanoma cancers. Many decades ago, when my mother was first diagnosed with breast cancer, I decided to get genetic testing for the BRCA gene panel and 1 other gene specifically for those of the Ashkenazi descent. Those 3 markers were major breakthroughs in the early 90s. Medical discoveries in this field have exploded since then, especially in the last 5 years. More recently, I was tested for approximately 49 different varieties of genetic mutations. Why do I tell you this? It is important to know your family's history of their health history. If you can, talk to your relatives, grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, and learn about your health history. And if you have kids, share that information with them. It greatly helps with someone's medical care when they can share the information with their provider. That being said, only 10 to 20% of breast and ovarian cancer is hereditary. Regardless of family history, 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. 1 in 72 women will be diagnosed with ovarian cancer during the lifetime. This tells us that we need to take care of ourselves. Many people stopped getting mammograms or going to healthcare appointments as a result of the pandemic. I don't work in the medical field, just a caring soul. If you postpone medical appointments, please reschedule. It could well save your life. I'm here talking as a friend, sister, mother, and sharing what knowledge, information that is available to me. Many friends came to my side during my 2 cancer diagnoses. What made my quiet, solitary cancer challenge during COVID seem easier to handle were the following gifts of kindness. My Israel sisters delivered a bounty of gift cards and thoughtful items to lift my spirits during the COVID shutdown, for which I'm thoroughly grateful. Strangers I met on Zoom provided a space to share in various online settings. Meals were delivered through Shomrei Torah's healing committee. With drains coming out of my body, I couldn't cook nor lift a finger. These meals filled me with love and nourishment. Besides pondering the statistics I just noted, something that I try to live by is this view. When a friend, family member, neighbor shares a scary cancer reality, my suggestion is to give freely. My motto has been, don't wait for someone to tell you they need something, just bring it to them. It's hard to ask for anything when your life is upside down. Small gifts of kindness change the horrific outcomes to one's of love and support. Believe me when I say this, my family lost everything a few years ago. We know firsthand about the kindness of strangers. I'm so grateful to have friends and family that surround me with daily gifts of love and friendship. My husband, Steve, and my sons, Ryan and Zachary, daily lift me up. I'm so proud of them, and having the bond of family gets me through my deep, dark moments. I also find strength knowing Shasheret and other organizations are behind me. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you tonight. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Heather, for not only sharing your story with us this evening, but for continuing to thrive and continuing to build upon the chains, the sharsharot, that have been so important to you and your family for these many years. And may you continue to help link people together in that chain, both with Sharsheret and within our community. So may you continue to thrive, may you continue to feel well, and continue to be you in all that you do. Thank you so very much. If you want to learn more about Sharsheret, you can look in their website. You can also speak to Heather, who I'm sure will give you more information about them. And we're really proud that we can partner with both Heather and Sharsheret this Shabbat for the pink Shabbat in a way. And I'm here wearing pink with you in solidarity, thinking and hoping that you continue to thrive for many, many more healthy years to come. A couple of quick announcements. First and foremost is Cantor Raffi, thank you for being here with me this evening, for remembering me and helping get me through this Zoom Shabbat, as it's been a long time since I've been able to share Shabbat with you and with the community. You can join Cantor Raffi in the Weiss Garden and the Sababa Sounds Band and the Teen Choir for musical Kabbalat Shabbat service next Shabbat, Friday the 25th, 6 p.m. in person. RSVP is requested, and you can also view it online, sts.org, stslive.org. The first annual Lisa Schwartz Tudson Memorial Speaker Series is 2 weeks away. Ermin Chemerinsky, Dean of UC Berkeley's School of Law, will speak on the future of democracy Sunday morning, March 6th at 9:45. The event is free and in person and online, and it's open to the entire community. RSVP is required. It will also be, don't tell anybody though, it will also be Rabbi Cameron's first thing back from his sabbatical. So you'll be able to see him and learn and remember the legacy of Lisa Schwartz Tudson. It's Mishloach Manot time. Join in the Purim mitzvah of sending gifts to the family and community and to everybody in the Shomrei Torah family. Order by Thursday, March 10th at 9 p.m. And then Redemption, a concert with the Los Angeles Emiria Chorale in celebration of Passover, will be on Sunday, April 3rd at 2:30 p.m. with a dessert reception to follow. RSVP to attend in person or online via a private Zoom link for the live stream. And this program is made possible by the Cantor Ron Snow Memorial Concert Fund and the Cantor Ron Snow Center Stage Technology Fund. One more just very quick announcement, and then I'll tell what is happening this Shabbat. Sunday at 1 p.m. at Eden Memorial, the unveiling of Ed Rasky, who was an active daily minyan goer. The family is asking, because they're not able to get everybody present for the unveiling, if you're able to make it to do a huge mitzvah of the unveiling for Ed Rasky, 1 p.m. in Eden Memorial. Tomorrow morning, 9:30 in the sanctuary and on live stream with myself and the rest of the synagogue community for Shabbat services. And at 10 a.m. tomorrow on STS Live Channel 2, you can join Cantor Raffi for a virtual musical inspiring service that she will be leading live stream at 10 a.m.
Yes.
Did I get it?
Yes, you did.
Did I get everything?
Yes, everything.
Amazing. It is so great to see all of you and to be back with you for Shabbat. I'm sorry that I've been missing you, but know that but both Rebecca and I are sending a lot of love to each of you as we go through this process, and that we're excited to be back at Shomrei Torah for the next couple of weeks and spend Shabbat and be with you for Purim, and then throughout the course of the next couple of months. We're going to turn to bless our children, our family, our animals, our loved ones, anybody who's in need of a blessing this Shabbat will join in the blessing for those people, as Cantor Raffi and I will say together. May God bless and protect you. May God's face shine upon you, and may God bestow kindness to each of you. And may the brightness of God lift upon you and show you greatness and grant you peace. And together we all say, Amen. We'll rise together with Cantor Rafi as she'll lead us in Kiddush. If you're following along in your Sidurim, page 76 for the Kiddush. L'chaim. Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצבנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen.
Chaim.
L'chaim, everybody.
L'chaim.
Did anybody make challah this Shabbat? They have challah they like to bless for us. Whoever has, if anybody wants to, I see Yochanan's washing his hands, so Yochanan, we'll be Yotze off of you, we'll fulfill off of you, and then we'll say the Hamot. It looks like Cantor Rafi is at a challah there. Amen. And we'll join together for Hamotzi. If anybody who's wants to unmute you, we can say Hamotzi together as a cacophonous choir.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech
haolam. Shabbat shalom, everybody. So lovely to see everybody. If you want to unmute yourselves and turn your cameras on for a moment to say Shabbat shalom to each other. Those of you who are joining us on the live stream, Shabbat shalom. We'll hopefully see you all soon. Again, 9:30 tomorrow morning in the sanctuary, also virtually, and then Cantor Rafi at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Shabbat shalom to everybody. So lovely to be with you all.
Shalom.
Shalom.